Look at that.
That's what I'm excited to go see today. The NAO Trinidad, that is the first boat to circumnavigate the globe. Magellan, his armada, the Armada de Malaccas, they left port in Spain in 1519, I want to say. Made their way through the Straits of Magellan in Brazil, made their way around. By the time they got out the Pacific Ocean, the first place they landed, I believe, was the Philippines. But we'll get into all that later. Super excited, super excited. This is the flagship of the Armada de Malaccas. That was Ferdinand Magellan's fleet leaving Spain to basically find the Malaccas Islands. They wanted the Spice Islands. Spices back in the day, white pepper, cinnamon, nutmeg, coriander, things like that were not something you found everywhere. They basically only came from this region of the planet. So all the kingdoms in Europe, everyone was trying to figure out a way to get to these spices so that way they didn't have to pay a jacked up dollar by the time they got to them across land. So Magellan had this idea that we're going to sail west, kind of the same idea that Columbus did. We're going to sail west, and he believed that just on the other side of Mexico was Japan and then the Far East. So basically they had to figure out a way through South America. Now obviously that was not the case, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But just look at this thing. It's crazy. That thing's like, what, 600 years old, something like that? They completed the voyage in 1522. The voyage itself took 3 years and 3 months, I believe. So although the boat looks as big as it does, imagine being stuck on this ship for 3 years with a handful of people. I'm sure you got annoyed by them really quick. They went through trials and tribulations. There was a lot of things. Ferdinand had a few mutinies. With him being a Portuguese sailor, he was not, how do I want to say this? The Spanish sailors didn't like him very much. If you want to think of it like this, Portugal and Spain during the time were essentially like the US and the USSR during the Cold War. Not an active war, but really didn't like each other. So Magellan goes to the King of Portugal, pitches this idea. King of Portugal says, no, that's garbage, get out. Just get out of here, I'm done with this. So Magellan then goes to the King of Spain. Spain backs the idea, says, sounds good, we're gonna do this. Now, once the King of Portugal hears that he's working for Spain, he then puts a bounty out on Magellan's head. So besides all the physical things and the environment, the length of the trip and everything else they're working against, Magellan has a bounty on his head from his home country. He has a crew full of Spanish sailors, which it wasn't just Spanish, it was a mixed crew, but the Spanish sailors didn't like him, so Magellan had his first mutiny before he even got to Brazil. So a lot of stuff is going on during this trip. It's not just merely trying to make it across the world in one piece. I mean, that is part of it, but all the stuff they have working against them. And we'll get into a little more on that. But yeah, look at her. She's beautiful. All right. I can't even make it up the gangway. Oh my God. This is insane. You imagine being on this thing for 3 years? 3 years. It's insane. Look at this. Just to look at this map here, just to give you an idea of what he traversed throughout the time. They leave Spain, they come down to Brazil, they enter a port in Rio de Janeiro, and then find their way to the Straits of Magellan, which the Straits of Magellan is a rat's nest of rivers and canals. If you were to go on Google Earth and take a look at it, it's nothing but a giant labyrinth, a maze that they had to find their way through without knowing anything. He lost 2 ships during the process. Took months after leaving Rio. They finally get out on the other side. They're expecting to see Japan almost immediately, and they get stuck in the Pacific Ocean for 98 days without any land, just based on the rations they have. And the best part is that one of the ships they lost during the Straits of Magellan actually was their, what's the word I want to say? Like their rations and food and all that. So basically what happened was during one of the mutinies, they got lost in the Straits of Magellan, and the ration ship basically turned around and hauled butt back to Spain, assuming that Magellan was going to die. So you have all this working against you, and then you get out of the Straits of Magellan, and essentially you have another 98 days before you even see land. We're going to have a guy here who knows more about it than I do, but it's crazy. Just insane. 3 months without seeing land. And then finally we get to the island. I can't imagine. It must have been in tears. I just can't. It blows my mind. The extremes of humankind always interest me. And this is definitely one of the extremes for their time. All right. So we want to introduce you to Abraham here. He's going to go over a lot more information than I am able to. He actually knows about this stuff. So we're very excited to figure out everything that's been going on and everything these guys went through. So Abraham, whenever you want to start.
Okay, so welcome to NAO Trinidad. This is a 16th century replica ship, a Magellan expedition. This is the one Magellan would be on, sailing. I can give you free information. We can go to the map, show you what happened on this expedition. So what's this whole expedition about? During the 16th century, 1500s, the spice trade was very big. Spain and Portugal were very into this. Why? If you got home with a box of spices, you basically were rich for life.
Yeah.
You came back home, you strike it big, you became a rich person. So let's start in Portugal. This is where Magellan was born. During that time, Portugal had a lot of routes going to the Spice Islands, going this way. Spain, not so much. So Magellan at that time, he asked his king, hey, we can find a route going this way instead of this way. His king rejected his offer. They were not getting along very well.
Yeah.
So he went off to work for Spain. So at that time, Spain funds the expedition, gives Magellan 5 ships. This is one of them. This was the flagship. This is the flagship, correct. This is the captain ship. And there would be 4 ships right behind him. So in 1519, they start their journey to get to the Spice Islands, which Spice Islands would be down here, the Indonesia area. They would start sailing. They're coming down this way. They were trying to get to this area. They knew there was an ocean over here. They just didn't know how to get to it. So they had to find a way to get over there. So they keep heading down south. They come down here until they get to the Strait of Magellan. From the Strait of Magellan, they cross over to the Pacific Ocean. These guys don't know how big the Pacific Ocean is.
No idea.
So they're kind of like clueless, you know, kind of like going into the unknown. So they start sailing. Before we get here, though, I want to show you something that happened right here, though. They lost 2 ships here. One of the ships kind of snuck away and went back to Spain. Said, you know what, this is too crazy.
Yeah, it was the ration ship, wasn't it?
It was a ration ship, correct, yeah. That ship was carrying most of their food, and they left, so that was not good for other guys. One of the ships crashed here as well, got shipwrecked. So at that moment, there was 3 ships crossing to the Pacific Ocean. They start the crossing. It took about 3 months to get across until they get to the Philippines right here.
That was the Mactan Island, was the first spot they landed or something like
that?
They
did land on some islands prior to the Philippines. They did land a couple islands along the way. And then they get to the Philippines. So what happens in the Philippines? Magellan becomes friends with the tribe. That tribe, you know, they exchange food, they do all the stuff. And he asks Magellan, hey, can you help us defend us against a neighboring tribe, which is right next door? And he said, yeah, why not? There's a battle soon after. Magellan actually loses his life in the Philippines. He gets struck by a poison arrow. Caught an arrow, and he lost his life. So that was it for Magellan. Part of his crew died here as well. So now they still have those 3 ships, but they have to burn one of them. Why? They didn't have enough manpower, so they had to kind of burn it, let it go. So the remaining crew get on the ships, and they actually make it to the Spice Islands. They make it, they get all their spices, their treaties, whatever they have to do here. You have the 2 ships now ready to go back to Spain. The issue is now, how are we going to get back to Spain? So what the NAO Victoria did, the one that actually made it back to Spain, went this way.
Really?
It came out this way.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then NAO Trinidad, which is this one, where we're at, made a big mistake. They went this way, the way they came from. But what happened during that time, the winds were not cooperating. Kind of, instead of going this way, they pushed them all the way up here. So it pushed.
So they're just completely out of sync.
Exactly, yeah. It pushed them out. They come back around. They're losing guys to starvation. They're losing a lot of food. And that eventually they get captured by the Portuguese.
Yes.
So that after that, this crew is done. Half of the crew dies, and the other half get captured and are released after many years after the last ship arrives in Spain. So that's it for the NAO Trinidad. So you have the NAO Victoria come in, they're crossed, and I'm pretty sure they're being chased by the Portuguese, you know?
Oh, yeah, I know
they're being chased.
He had a bounty on him, Magellan, didn't he, after? Because he went to Portugal and tried to pitch it, and they said no, so he went to Spain, and the Portuguese king was like, oh, no, this isn't happening.
Yeah, this is not going to happen, yeah. So these guys are making it through. They come here, they cross over here. until they get back to Spain in 1522. A lot of those people there were shocked to see them alive because after years they were thinking they were completely dead. And so they get back to Spain. And who was a person who actually, the captain, it was called Juan Sebastián Elcano. He was a Basque captain. He was the one that led the NAO Victoria back to Spain.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a little quick overview of what happened during the expedition. There's a lot of little things that happened along the way, but it's just, we'll be here pretty much a long time.
I got you.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what happened. The spices were, appreciate it, thank you so much. That was what they were after, basically.
This was basically playing Russian roulette. Like, I mean, if you're one of the sailors at the time, like, you're basically just sailing off into this void of unknown. Exactly. But the promise is, if you can come home with that, like you said, you're set for life. With generational money. Yeah.
That's what motivated a lot of these men to, you know, to risk their life for this. I like to call it like, you know, like a spaceship today, you know, like a spaceship basically. Of that
we were talking about too, but even like, I feel like the spaceship, you still can like talk to people back home. Like these people are just nothing. Like you're just, that's
you
it.
have no communication with anybody.
Once you sail over that horizon, then you're on your own. It's insane.
It is.
Stuff blows my mind.
Yep. So, and then we have some here. What we have here, some stuff that would use on board. This right here, they would use it to like kind of like stop the leaks.
Okay.
They would kind of like
twist it up,
like this, and kind of use these tools.
That's cool.
With this kind of shimmered in there, and then with the hammer, and right here there would be like some black tar, like some black glue, and kind of apply it on there, and kind of stop the leaks from.
That's awesome.
From going through there.
Smart.
Yeah, and these are some instruments. This is what they would use to measure the speed. This right here, they measuring using the knots. This
is that where the term comes from?
That's where the term comes
from. I don't know
Yeah.
that much. Yeah.
And this right here, they would use this to measure the depth of the ocean. Also using the knots. Or they call it phantoms. Yeah, so that's what they would use as well for that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and back here we just have some tools as well, what they would use.
Sorry, miss.
Here are some quotes from Pigafetta. Who's Pigafetta? Pigafetta is he's one of the scribes of the expedition. So this is how today we know a lot of his information.
He put the information down that we have.
So a lot of his stuff we know because of him. He came back. He's one of the 18 that came back alive.
That's what I try to tell people, man. Words live on forever.
Yeah, exactly.
You can write them down.
You got to write as much as you can.
Yes. It's the only thing that's going to make it.
Your experiences.
But yeah, all this stuff they deal with. I mean, I can't imagine coming out of the Straits of Magellan, and it was like what, like 90, 100 days before they even saw land or anything? Because they thought, they knew there was an ocean there, but they thought like Japan and the East were going to be relatively close.
Very close by, exactly, yeah.
And then you just see nothing but the Pacific Ocean for 3.5 months. It's crazy. Like that's just
insane.
Like, and think about how much, no pun intended, that would take the wind out of your sails when you come across and you're like, oh, I've made a terrible choice.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of those men crossing Pacific Ocean were like thinking, what did I get myself into?
Oh, he had a few mutinies.
Oh yeah, he did. In South America, yeah, he had a mutiny happening. Why? Because
he had to maroon one dude, and then he had another guy.
Abandoned some guys on land too.
Yes.
So back here we have the tiller. This is where the rudder, it connects to the rudder and it connects to the whip staff up top. I can show you guys right now the top part. That's what it was used back then to move the ship around, steer the ship around.
So yeah, when they're up top, this is the mechanism that's actually moving the rudder back
around.
And forth.
Correct. Yes.
That is crazy.
So this is the back of the ship.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. This would be the
aft.
Yeah. I can show you up top if you guys like.
Yeah, please.
Also, you live on this ship.
Exactly.
Really?
How long have you lived on this ship?
For about 3 months. I haven't been here for so long, but it's 3 months full of amazing experiences.
Oh, I can't imagine. It's probably awesome.
It's been it's a learning experience as well because I have zero experience. I came from a zero experience background in sailing, and here I've been learning a lot of stuff along the way.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I can show you guys the
I'm
top.
sorry.
Yeah.
This is so cool.
So welcome. Okay, I'll just wait till he gets.
Oh no, you're good.
So welcome to the tolda. This is a quarter deck. This is where the officials, a pilot, Captain Magellan would be up here. So this is the whip staff right here. This is what is used to steer the ship back in those times.
This was?
Yeah, this is
okay.
a pole. This
I mean,
is
I was
a
picturing a
whip
wheel, I'm not going to lie.
staff. In Spanish, it's called a pinzote. English, whip staff. So this would be starboard. You route this way.
Lit.
Port side would go that way. It's
Okay.
kind of like a car, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
You want to go this way, just go that way.
Cut the ship. That's crazy.
So yeah, we have that. This would be the captain's office where Magellan would sleep in. His officers would meet him here.
Oh, that's bigger than I thought. Maybe not. Is it just one room back here, or is it two?
There's actually a room back there, but that's our captain's room. It
Oh,
would be
her.
yeah, it would be much bigger, but that's just
Yeah,
where our
gotcha.
captain sleeps. But this is kind of like a general idea of like what his room would look like.
That's cool.
Yeah, his work desk is on this window. If you want to take a look at it, it's pretty
Was it
cool.
all men?
It's all men. His voyage is mostly
but-
comprised of men.
You want to take a look?
I can show you guys over here on the.
Oh, okay.
This is what his work desk would look like in there.
Right there, can you see the bell?
And now Trinidad, now is just the type of boat it is, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, yeah. And Trinidad is just the name.
It's like before there's galleons or anything like that.
So
like,
the galleons came like in the 1700s.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, like 1600s, kind of. And then the NAOs were before that.
yes, but
So,
at the time, this is one of the bigger ones you could
biggest
get. I would
ones, yeah.
imagine.
This was one of the like the state of art, basically
Yes.
ships of that time.
Yeah. It's
The
crazy.
NAOs.
Going across an open ocean on this thing.
Should I be standing on this rope?
Yeah, and I can show you guys up here.
Please, soak it all in.
They used this.
Abraham, how many did you say started sailing? A number?
239 and 18 people came back.
18
People came back. alive.
239 people left port, 18 made it back. Magellan not being one of them. Craziness.
So welcome to one of my favorite spots. This is Tolia. This is one of the highest parts of the ship. Back here we have this right here, this lantern looking thing was meant to keep the ships from breaking apart at nighttime. So they would
Like
put
a
a
beacon?
candle, it's like a beacon, basically modern day beacon. Put a candle up there and then just kind of light up the area. That way they'll know where Magellan is at. And then from up here as well,
See a lot.
in case of an attack, most of the men would run up here or either the port castle to protect the ships from either side. Because why? Being on the higher ground,
You can
it will
come
give
down.
you the highest advantage of protecting
Makes
the ship
sense.
from any enemy attacks.
Because if you're
from
down
around.
on that, I mean, they're looking over you. They're
Exactly,
getting the drop on
correct.
you, literally.
So these men had swords, had muskets, so had all these type of weapons to defend the ship. They would have the cannons. They would have the 4 mini cannons, which are falconetes.
Oh,
Two-
like that one right there?
Yeah, correct,
Her,
right
her,
there.
her.
2 up there, and then 2 right here on the bottom as well.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so they were watching out for pirates, for the Portuguese. So they had a lot of threats. That
Oh, I can't.
encountered along the
Everything's
way.
a threat at that point.
Yeah,
I
at the
feel
moment.
like.
Even the weather too, you know.
Because I mean, you're under a Spanish flag, so obviously the Portuguese are not fans of him because of everything that transpired. But also,
Exactly.
I'd imagine the Spanish and the Brits don't exactly get along at this point. Like, I'm sure they're not at war with each other.
So do you know why the Pacific Ocean is called Pacific? Pacifico in Spanish means peaceful ocean. As Magellan was crossing the Strait of Magellan, he was encountering treacherous, because that's really nasty water there, nasty weather, treacherous sea. When he got to the Pacific Ocean, he called it Pacifico because he seen calm waters. So he said the peaceful ocean, calm waters. So where the Pacific name comes from. Also, in Patagonia, the name Patagonia is actually like a kind of like a Spanish term as well. When Magellan got to those lands, he encountered like really huge native people. Pata in Spanish means foot, so Patagonia, it's like reference like a really, really huge foot.
Huh.
So
I didn't know that.
So that would say Patagonia is basically the land of the big feet.
That's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, quick fun fact. Not a whole lot of people know about it, so
No, I didn't know that.
I like to throw it out there. You know, I
That
think
sounds
it's pretty cool.
I mean, absolutely.
Is that like Samoa? Like Samoans?
No, that was actually in Patagonia today, which is
in
like
South
at the very South America, kind of like at the tip. That's where it would be at the moment right there. Yeah. So it's kind of like quick fun facts, and I'll throw it out there.
Yeah, so guys, we're very excited to be here. Abraham, thank you again, man. I
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much. Thanks for
This
coming.
has been awesome.
Yeah, this has been
getting
awesome
to learn a
experience.
lot. Like I said, I'm a big fan of history, so being able to come out and actually witness this stuff and get a better idea of how these people lived and just the absolute insanity they had to go through for 3 years or something like that it's amazing. I know that's probably not the word they would use, but I think it's amazing. It's awesome.
Definitely is. Thank you, guys.
There we go. So that was absolutely incredible. I know that I got to watch myself or else I'm going to fall down these stairs. I know I'm a big history geek. I'm sure other people don't get as excited for this stuff as I do, but it's just crazy. And like he said, the craziest part is Magellan, the one who gets all the credit, didn't even actually make it all the way around. When they got to the Philippines, they landed on Mactan Island, and that's what he was saying, that he became friends with the local tribes. So in their journeys, he basically was trying to push Christianity for the Spanish nation. He's trying to convert the natives, essentially. He says, what can I do to get you guys to listen, at least give me a chance? And they're like, all right, well, listen, we're having trouble with this other tribe across the way. If you could come help us with that, that would be incredible, and we'll give you a listen. And Joan goes, don't worry, got it, we got this. Chief goes, all right, let me get my tribe. We'll meet up over there. And Joan goes, no, I don't want you to bring your tribe. You're going to see how Spanish lions fight. It's just going to be us. So they get all armored up. They get their weapons and everything like that. And when they get to the beach, you figure they're in knee-high turquoise water, probably an absolute paradise. They realize that the opposing tribe has probably 3 to 4 times the amount of people they do. So armor and muskets and all that is great, but if you're getting overwhelmed, it doesn't make a big difference. And that's where Magellan went down. There's actually a statue in Mactan Island of this, where the Spanish queen put a statue to Magellan there on the spot that he was cut down. So it's just craziness. History is amazing. Like, it really is. It's the story of how we got here, what we became from our origins. And I just think that's so interesting. So I'm just very thankful we got a chance to come out here and do this today. Ladies and gentlemen, I know I've been going on and on about this, but if you are within driving distance, anywhere close to Georgetown, please come check this out. It's an amazing piece of history, interesting. You can bring the whole family, it's outside, and it's only here till Sunday. So please make a point to come get this, and we will have our dinner specials for you later this evening. And that Chop House.